Welcome into the Altitude Problems Podcast. This is episode 5. Recapping up some Denver sports this week and just sports in general, along with my co-host PV. How are we doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. Not too bad. How about yourself, Big Country?
I think we're good. I can speak for all of Denver fans in general. It's been a rough 8 days
Yeah,
or 7
absolutely.
days.
Yeah, obviously it wasn't a great week being a Denver sports fan, but at least we had the memories that we did for this year, and we hope for a good future, but we'll get into that a bit later.
Yeah,
So
certainly.
I'll get us started with some of the boring kind of around the world stuff. Not necessarily Denver stuff, but a little bit of news from F1 today. It was available on Netflix, so you might have gotten to catch some of that. But the F1 Canadian Grand Prix did occur over the weekend. We saw young Kimi Antonelli get his 4th win in a row for Mercedes and take a big leap ahead of George Russell in the Drivers' Championship. George, I don't know if you saw the race. No, probably not, obviously. But George Russell and Kimi Antonelli being teammates, they are both really good. Both drive for Mercedes, and one of those two is going to end up winning the championship more likely than not. And in this race, they were competing, and George Russell ended up getting himself knocked out trying to pass Kimi Antonelli, and so that gave Kimi a big lead in the Drivers' Championship. So as of right now, he is first and is looking to take that Drivers' Championship at a very young. I believe he's still 19 years old. He might have turned 20 recently. And then so big news from F1. And then kind of moving forward to some more driving and racing stuff. The Indy 500 also occurred over the weekend. I'm sure a lot of you guys caught that. Had the closest win ever by 0.02 seconds. So pretty crazy, exciting finish there at the end. And then on to some sadder news. Unfortunately, we did lose Kyle Busch, and so it is really tragic news. So definitely want to say rest in peace to him, and very sad for that loss.
Yeah, definitely. Rest in peace to an absolute legend of the sport. We saw a bunch of tributes over the weekend, a lot of sad faces in the world of racing and just the world of sports in general. I mean, he was dominant, didn't give a shit what you thought, and he was a great competitor in the sport. Sad to see, obviously. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, let's get into some Broncos. Not get too depressing today. Tell me some news out of rookie minicamp.
Yeah, so some good news coming out of rookie minicamp. I feel like every year you're always going to hear some pretty positive stuff coming out of rookie minicamp. You don't want to hear coaches getting down on their players that early. So obviously most of what you hear is going to be good, but there's good word on Jonah Coleman. A lot of exciting news on him. Sean Payton's obviously very big on him. He was an early pick for a good reason, so I do think we are going to see some big exciting action out of him. A lot of people do also think that Justin Jolly is going to be a pretty big instant impact, at least this season. Maybe closer to the midpoint of the season, but they do see him being a big part of our offense at some point early on this year. And then some exciting news. A lot of people are really excited about the undrafted free agent Tareen York. He had a lot of tackles through his 3 years as an Aggie, and so we have a lot of high hopes for him. We think that he can kind of be the kind of role that Alex Singleton has been for us for all these years in getting all those tackles and stopping those runs down the middle, which is obviously something that we need to fill in. So an undrafted free agent that we've been getting some good word on and hoping for a good rookie season from him too.
Yeah, that's good. Good to hear from Denver side of things. As far as outside the rest of the NFL, we had 11 teams start OTAs today as we're recording this on Tuesday, May 26th. So definitely gonna see some new clips to get everyone overhyped. About their squads, which is always great to see. But we do have our idiot of the week to announce. Josh Jacobs of the Green Bay Packers. I don't know if the sports world has seen it, Denver sports world in general, but how many charges did he get charged for?
Too many
5?
to count. Enough to get. Let's see. I actually saw a post about it. It was that bad. Yeah, so several charges, 1 battery, disorderly conduct, strangulation. Looks like 6 different charges were placed on him.
Yeah, not what you want to see. I think if you're a Green Bay fan, obviously, but I think it's just a fan of the NFL in general. Josh Jacobs is you think he was a nice person. He never
I
had
would
any
hope.
problems previously, not that I know of, especially being a Green Bay fan myself. But I mean, what do you do if you're Green Bay? That's the real question you got to ask. Especially considering he's been your bell cow for the past 2 years. He's getting a little older. He was probably on the question of whether you cut him or keep him at the end of last year, especially with his injuries near the end of the year. But I mean, what are we doing, dude?
Yeah, I mean, it obviously sucks. You hope that it's not true. You never know with these things, but in Green Bay's situation, like you said, the one, I guess, not necessarily bright side to it, but the one good thing is it might be something that they've been preparing for. Like you said, he did face a lot of injuries. I mean, even though he was a bell cow, there was a lot of the year that you guys had to go without him last year. And so I think that over the last couple of years, not maybe over the last couple of years, but especially over the last year and this offseason, given that you guys had to experience that last year, it's definitely something that I think you guys have been considering. And, it's something that you might be ready for. And so I think that there's not necessarily someone who will stand out in particular at the moment, but I do think that you guys will be able to figure it out with the backs that you have in the room right.
Yeah, I mean, you got a couple backs in there. You didn't sign anyone. You didn't draft anyone. Probably signed a couple undrafted free agents, obviously, but and he gets suspended and he gets released. I mean, the Packers do not like this type of stuff historically. I can see him being released, honestly, very, very soon. But hopefully the rumors and the allegations and the charges get dropped and, who cares? Just go
Right.
into
Yeah.
next season. Kind of doubt it. But like you said, we do have Marshawn Lloyd. They do have Chris Brooks. Absolute household names, of course. You
Right.
know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Well, that's how they always start. I feel like I feel like a lot of these guys, they always start out being kind of just random backs and then they become those bell cows, those kind of unspoken heroes. And so, I think given the fact that they didn't try to pursue anyone in particular in the draft, yeah, I mean you had the expensive Josh Jacobs, so that has a big reason why. But I think given the fact that they were trying to prepare for losing him anyway, they must feel pretty comfortable with who they have back there already.
Yeah. I mean, Marshawn Lloyd, he was so talented at a USC. And the fact that he's just been injured for the whole entire career he's had.
Right,
I think he's
exactly.
played in one game past 2 years. So just hoping and praying he can stay healthy through training camp and, make it to week one. That's all I'm really hoping for at this point because he's a really explosive back and he could be really good in Matt LaFleur's offense. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what Josh Jacobs, the verdict is on his charges. It's not gonna, like it's going to get resolved in a couple hours. Is going to take some time.
It's gonna
So
be a while. Yeah.
yeah, but that is our idiot of the week. But let's get back into a little bit more Colorado sports, Denver sports. Let's talk about a little bit of our purple and black, the Colorado Rockies. They are losing right now. I don't know if that game is finished up yet. I believe it's close, but they're in the bottom of the seventh, down 15-1.
Not close anymore.
No,
Yeah, and one of the things I was gonna mention is I feel like with the Rockies, it's every other game that we're losing by a lot, you know? And maybe not
yeah,
necessarily losing by a lot, but it's every other game that we're giving up a lot of runs. Like I feel like if you look at all of May, more than 60% of the games we've given up 7 runs plus, which is just ridiculous. And then you have a game like today where we've already given up 15 games, not even over. So, obviously we keep preaching it. It's always going to be the problem, the pitching. It doesn't matter how good your hitting is. It's never going to really get anything accomplished if you can't pitch to save your life. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Certainly, it doesn't help when a lot of the team is injured as well. I mean, your starting outfield. I wouldn't even say starting. I would say 2 out of your third starting outfield is hurt right now. They're on the IL. Brendan Doyle's on the IL. Mickey Moniak went on the IL last weekend as well. Jordan Beck's on the IL. Jose Quintana, kind of a reliable starter that we've had for the first few months, is on the IL. Chase Dollander's on the IL. I mean, I could just keep going, it feels like. Jimmy Herget's on the IL, like solid contributors to the Rockies, especially, defensively too, with those outfielders. And Mickey Moniak was kind of like the heart and soul of that offense. You kept everything churning, everything positive because he was mashing, obviously. But, just now you're starting to see a little bit more youth being brought up. Not necessarily, I don't think like the star-studded talent, obviously. I feel like they're waiting on that a little bit, but everything doesn't. This doesn't help the matter. This help, because we're still not pitching well, even with the guys we did have. So hopefully we can, overcome this. Turn into a positive. Because May's obviously been rough, but hey, turn a new page, go to June, try and get back to like near 500 baseball for the month. So let's be honest, this is not a playoff team. Everyone knows that.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what we can get. See what we could produce at the deadline, and go from there. But I think there's a lot of bright spots on this team still. So
what do you realistically see the Rockies' record ending at this year? At this point,
I think it's going to be right at 100 losses, so like 62 and 100, and I still think that's a great jump from where we were last year. Obviously, I'm not like satisfied with a 100-loss season. No one is, but they took massive strides this offseason. They overhauled the front office. Kind of the overhaul of the roster too. It seems like half the roster this year is just a new face that we haven't seen in the purple pinstripes. So yeah, but we did. I mean, we did bring up a reliever. I believe his name is Wellington Herrera. He had his first big league inning yesterday. 1, 2, 3. That was nice to see. He was, I think, our 14th ranked prospect. So again, you're not like seeing these like marquee guys that are at the top of our farm system come up either. So we just got to play the waiting game. Rockies are not a team that gets a rebuild done in 2 years. They will never be. So
no, it's gonna take a while, but as long as we see progress.
Yeah, and I even saw Ethan Holiday, our top prospect. He went on the IL down in Single A. So just things are compacting. Yeah. Mark my words though, this will be an entirely new team come like in another month's time. So interesting to see. Got a lot of promising young prospects in AAA, AA that are going to be moving up in the next few months, and a lot of these guys are in the big leagues that are kind of just like maybe on 1-year deals or just like prove it deals that teams might bite on. Could see them getting moved. And I think that's a good thing. So see what happens. I mean, do you think they're going to get to more than 100 losses?
I think it's definitely possible. I think if we keep up this rancid pitching, I could definitely foresee it. But obviously, I'm hoping that we don't reach that point. I do think that we do still have the star power that we need. And I think that we can pull off a season that we don't have much more than 100 wins if we do reach 100, or not 100 wins, 100 losses if we do reach 100 losses. So, I'm hoping for the best. I obviously still think it is possible, but I'm hoping that we definitely see a better month next month than we saw in May.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that statement. And obviously we hope for the best. I mean, I'll be going to games, that. So I want to see some wins. I think my record of going to games this year is, I want to say like 1-4, maybe less. It might be like 2-6. Like it's not great.
I feel like last year I was like 0-5 in the games that I went to. So,
dude, I mean, if you got to win, you just know you were like,
yeah, you went to one of the good ones for sure.
Yeah, you were the good luck charm essentially too.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh well. Anyways, with the Rockies, just gotta hope for the best. But let's get into a little bit of NBA. Not much to wrap up on Nuggets. We're still kind of looming, decisions. Obviously, I don't know how many names I've seen just brought up in potential trades. Because we had the lottery a couple weeks ago now. Like,
yeah, it's difficult. The Nuggets are in a real purgatory with everything that we've done to ourselves, the contracts, the players that we have, the quality of the players. It's hard to trade some of the players that we have, especially given their contracts. So then it's hard to sign free agents given the money that we've spent. So, you kind of just have to roll with the punches that we get this offseason and hope that maybe we can just, with the same hand that we were dealt last year, just do a better job this year and really step it up. So, yeah, I don't know. There's not much that I think the Nuggets are going to be able to do this offseason, but more so than just getting that team chemistry up and getting the team glued together somehow, some way.
Definitely. Let's talk about our like half of our bet of the week last week. We took both the Thunder and Spurs and Cavs and Knicks to go over in their series totals, which I believe were both at 5.5. Yeah, thanks for that, Cavs. Cavs, I mean, we were kind of saying this before, but the fact that they lost that big lead, was that in game one? I want to
It
say
was game one, yeah.
it was like a 20-point lead. It's got to be the most deflating thing in the world. And then just to not respond and then get fucking swept and just show no fight at all. I mean, we saw prime James Harden in an elimination game right there. He's like doing nothing.
Well,
So,
and it just felt like it infected the whole team, you know. After game one, they blew that game, and then the rest of the games, every time that they were anywhere near the end of the game, or it felt like the game was getting away from them, they just gave up, you know. Every time that they had a 20-point deficit for whatever reason, it just felt like the game was over at that point. The Cavs just stopped trying. And it, like you said, it felt like James Harden, you know, he was playing his game seven type of game sevens in the playoffs, and it really did feel like it affected the whole team this time around, you know. Donovan Mitchell, it felt like maybe was the only one trying on offense, but even on defense, you know, I didn't see really anybody trying. So it was a shame to see the low effort given by the Cavs in the series.
Me honestly could say they just kind of ran into a buzzsaw. The Knicks are firing at the right
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I'll give you that. The Knicks have looked, I mean, unstoppable. I mean, it must have been disheartening for the Cavs to, you know, feel like they might have had, you know, some sort of momentum going into the series, actually have a chance at game one, and then all of a sudden just start getting blown out. So the Knicks definitely, you know, they can score in waves, and they showed that, and they are going to be a hard team to stop. So the question now is, how different are they going to look against the West? You know, they dominated the East, but everyone's always saying the East is much easier than the West. So the question is, are they going to be able to do the same to either the Spurs or the Thunder?
The least.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what we like to call 'em. Yeah, I mean, I could see it being, you know, a very, really good, like a good series in the finals because, you know, whatever team comes out of the West is going to be really good. But I think it's all about like the sizing when it comes to like Wemby, you know, because I think the Thunder can match up with size. Don't know how much the Knicks can match up with size. So I feel like they're almost a little fitted to play the Thunder more than the Spurs. But I mean, is there really anyone that could stop Wemby regardless? I mean, we're seeing the Thunder doing kind of a good job. Wouldn't say a great job at stopping him. I believe he was held to not that much today.
20, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, gotta just accept that. And Shed also, I believe, had a great start to his game in the first quarter. I think he was 4 of 4 to start out the game, so that obviously helps. I didn't catch most of the game, but I mean, I didn't see Shea, you know, foul baiting as much. So that was nice to see. But you know, a lot of hate gets put on Shea for his foul baiting, but dude, if that dude didn't foul bait, he's still fucking amazing, and no one
Yeah,
seems
I
to think of
mean,
that.
he's still a great player, obviously, and I think that's just what's so frustrating about him is he doesn't need to foul bait to be a great player. So I think it's just really annoying for a lot of NBA fans watching him fall over constantly when he could just be actually trying to find the bottom of the bucket rather than trying to find the whistle, you know. And so I think that that's kind of the main underlying issue here is not necessarily that anyone thinks that Shea would be nothing without free throws, but I feel like they don't think that he needs to rely on it that much. And I mean, I agree. I used to love Shea. I used to make back when I was making sports edits, I used to make a couple edits of Shea because, you know, he has a bag. He can shoot. He can make some crazy layups inside. He used to jump like crazy back when he played in Los Angeles. So I guess it's just a shame. Yeah, exactly. It's just a shame for some of us NBA fans who really like watching that type of game and play style. And obviously, you can't necessarily say that it's not working because it has been. Obviously, he won the championship last year. He's been MVP 2 years in a row now. So it obviously works, and that's why he keeps doing it. And, you know, you can complain all you want, but it's getting him the wins and it's getting him the rings.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely see that. I mean, that dude's like pull up for the mid range is just disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I saw this mentioned. I think his name is Chase Talk Sports. He mentioned the other day, like, yeah, sure. You know, the way that these Thunder players get their fouls is ridiculous. But if you count the free throws, obviously they got basically the same amount of free throws in the last couple of games as the Spurs. So it's not that they're getting more free throws. Obviously, it is the way that they're getting the free throws that people hate. But I think the biggest impact that the Thunder have against other teams is just look at their percentages. I mean, they shot 48% from the field, I think, in game 3 with 45% from 3-point range, which is just a ridiculous number to be shooting as a team. And so, when you're shooting 45% from the 3-point line, it's hard to lose games. And so I think as much as they do get these unethical free throw calls, they still know how to get the job done in other ways. So that a lot of people don't talk about.
The depth the Thunder have compared to the Spurs as well is unmatched.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you had
So
Jared McCain drop 23, something like that, 20 something points the other night. And you signed him as a free agent, which the
Traded.
Sixers just straight up traded for him. But the Sixers straight up gave up on him. And so, yeah, absolutely. I agree. The depth that they have, and they have AJ Mitchell, they have Jared McCain, they have just an unbelievable amount of depth in addition to their star-studded starting cast.
Yeah. I mean, big contributor tonight was Hartenstein as well. He was plus 24. He was 6 for from the field with 15 boards. I mean, you're getting that from your backup center. I mean,
and the thing with Hartenstein is, he's being aggressive, and that's what's holding down Wembanyama a lot. And obviously, you see a lot of these. I will have to say that Hartenstein has been fouling a lot, and he's been really really physical in his defense. That's how you're going to stop Wembanyama when literally nobody's going to match his size. You have to be physical with him, but. And that, that's what's winning them these games, and that's what's getting them these stops is him being physical. And, you can definitely make the argument that he's gotten a lot of fouls that have not been called. But, I mean, if they're not going to call them, why are you going to stop playing that way? You win the game by doing what you can to stop their star player, and that's what he's doing.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this, but Shea was 16 for 17 from the line today.
Yeah. Yeah, 17 free throws. And, I feel like a big part of it I feel like they feel a lot more comfortable at home in these situations. So it does kind of feel very iffy when you see those 17 free throws at home. So we'll see if it's the same result when they go to San Antonio on Thursday. Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously pretty strong, he's an NBA player. I mean, a lot of that comes down to just maybe he's like, people are just hacking him because he's too good. Maybe. I mean, Wemby had 12 from the line today, and he was 12 for 12. I think Wemby also just needs to be fouled because he could dunk from 2 feet away from the rim. He doesn't need to do anything. You can just stand and just put it in. So it's just it's weird. I'd love to see just like rookie Shea, like the version of him with the skills he has now. That type of player. If they can somehow combo, without like the bullshit that he tries to, get essentially.
Yeah. Right.
But I say the bet of the week, though, Pat. I say we take Spurs money line to get to 7.
I like it, Spurs money line, because I agree. I mean, in San Antonio, I think whenever Wembanyama's has his back against the wall, I feel like he's a different animal, and especially coming off of a rough game. He did have 20 points today, but like you mentioned, 12 free throws. So 12 out of 20 points came from free throws. They were hacking him all game. I feel like he's going to really want it next game. So I would honestly take Spurs money line, and I would even throw in Wemby points because I think he's gonna have a big game.
Yeah, I mean the line's already out right now. It's minus 152. I mean, so at some point, do we think we just take Thunder because they're plus money? I mean, when you get Thunder at plus money.
Thunder at plus money is pretty crazy, but I don't think that the Thunder can take them in San Antonio, especially not after not with San Antonio's backs against their wall.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It should be fun to see on Thursday too. 2 days from now, obviously. So you listeners will get to hear this, tomorrow, day before the games. Make sure to get that bet in. Maybe throw a couple units on it, and then blame us if it doesn't hit.
Exactly.
Yeah. But now let's get down into the nitty gritty, the depressing part of our day. The Avalanche just got fucking raped. And then not raped. They got touched like Diddy.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to really say. You just got manhandled, and you also, you came up against just an absolute buzzsaw, just kind of like the Knicks. I mean, you can honestly say like they played so well against us, man. I mean, we scored first, and I don't know how many games. I believe 2 out of the 4, maybe 3, definitely 2 out of the 4. And to lose that one going up 3-0 in the first period to end up losing 5-3 in game 3, brutal for one. And we also saw some crazy stats. The Avs had not lost a game after they were leading after the second period all season long. That was including postseason and regular season. They're 45-0, and they
Yeah,
lost.
it was
Like,
it was just a series of constant disappointment. Obviously the first 2 games we felt like, okay, we didn't have McCarr. Our defense is lacking because of that. Which even then, the first 2 games without McCarr, you still have millions of dollars invested in your forwards, and we were not scoring. And you can say that about this entire series, other than maybe the first period of game 3. We go up 3-0 that third game. Feels like we're finally getting a little bit of momentum, and then immediately, well, not immediately, but progressively throughout the game, we just don't score anymore. We lose the lead, end up losing game 3, 5-3, and I think obviously that game just demoralized us, demoralized our offense too much for game 4. So, we score one, we put the puck in the net one time tonight. They score on us twice. Our defense was slightly better, but our offense continued to be really weak. And like you said, it felt like we just ran into a buzzsaw with the way they were playing. We could never get
yeah,
past the midpoint of the court of the, what do you call it, the rink. And so it just so it just felt like, we were constantly running into their defense and we could never get past them. We could never get anything going. We thought maybe we had something going at the beginning of game 3, only for things to get completely flipped on us. And I think after things got flipped on us after game 3, it was over from that moment. We just, we were on our heels. It felt like the entire series.
yeah. I mean, I saw the stat during tonight's game. There was a point where we had 2 shots on net over 25 minutes of game time.
Yeah,
Their defense
yeah.
was outstanding. Props to them, but the big boys got to contribute. McKinnon didn't have a goal. Carr obviously was out for 2 games. I'm not going to put this on him. He was battling injury. He's been battling injury, for the past 2 series. The fact that he, even took the ice for us in the past 2 games just shows how tough he is. But McKinnon took that puck to the knee in game 3, still tried to give it a go on, power plays and empty nets. But, I mean, you can't say that was the reason the Avs lost. And you can't even say the goaltending is the reason the Avs lost. I thought the goaltending was pretty good. You got some unlucky bounces. That's hockey at the end of the day. It's not like you had these point-blank shots that went in. You had horrible defense on the first goal tonight. He gets a one-on-one essentially and just beats him. Can't really get mad at him. He has no chance. He's the only one back there. You need your defenseman to step up there. Second one got redirected. I don't know how the fuck you even say that regardless if it's redirected. Things coming in hot, but the big boys I feel like they didn't step up in general. Like you said, you got a lot of money down there to get them done. And, a lot of talk's going to go on Bednar after this, because, you didn't really see like too big of changes throughout the series, and how he was playing the Lions. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see kind of, with the Nuggets, same, just these high expectations and ultimately falling short of the goal once again.
Yeah, exactly. It's very similar, for both teams. A lot of money, a lot of investments, and a lot of team chemistry. But kind of just, where do you go from here if it didn't work, kind of thing. So, especially with both of them putting up such a such a sad showing. Losing in 4 games this series, and then Nuggets losing to Minnesota when that series should have been there. So, on paper we have what we should have been taken to get to the finals in both of those, but neither team was able to pull through. So, kind of just have to wait and see what happens this offseason.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately. And, I can honestly say with like both squads, I kind of feel like you need a change at the helm. I don't think that's coming with the Nuggets. Can maybe see with the Avs now. But everything is, it's early. We're just processing this as, the game was over about an hour-ish ago. So I'll have to wait and see. But, you're only going to have so much time with each of these great players. Nicola's not getting any younger. The dog is not getting any younger either. And the guys around him aren't getting any younger. Like, your window is so short in the NBA. It's a little longer, it feels like, in the NHL because those guys can play forever. But, we keep saying it feels like the past 3 years with the Avs, like they keep going all in. They kind of sacrifice the future a little bit with their picks, even though they're not going to have high picks anyway. But kind of same with the Nuggets, actually. But, we got to find a way to get back into the cup. So unfortunate.
Yeah,
Really
and it just
depressing.
feels like we're right there. We're just missing one piece, but it also feels like it's impossible to get that one piece without blowing it all up. So
Yeah, I think you kind of hit that nail in the coffin there. It's just Avs are. It's just sad, and I wish we had Andy on here to talk about it because he would have a little bit more insight on this. I mean, obviously
yeah,
we
shout
have
out to
like
Andy.
yeah, shout out to Andy. Invited him on and he blew me off. But I mean, I don't really know what else you can say about the Avs after those last
Yeah,
3 games. I mean, game
yeah, it's
one you
not
were
much.
winning. You were up. Oh no, you weren't winning.
No, the only
No,
time we were winning was game 3.
no, yeah, they went down early, so can't really. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
depressing all around.
it was just a lot of we
No,
lacked
actually, that's not true.
aggressiveness.
We were up in game two for 2 periods, and then they gave up 3 in the third.
You're right. Yeah,
So, anyways, that kind of wraps up our weekly, talk about Denver sports and just sports in general. I do have a Denver sports fun fact of the week. How many games did the Rockies win out of 22 in 2007 to make the postseason? That'd be when the run became known as Rocktober.
out of 22,
10 this season, yeah.
I want to say 19.
A little close. They won 21 out of 22 games.
21 out of 22. That's crazy. I did not think it was going to be any closer than 19. That's wild. They call it Rocktober for a reason, baby.
Mm-hmm. And then they swept through the playoffs to reach the first ever World
the
Series,
playoffs.
only to
I'll
get
never forget sweeping
swept.
the playoffs just to get swept.
Yep. You know what's even crazier? The Rockies have never played in a Game 5 or Game 6 in franchise postseason history.
Wow, that is actually really crazy.
Isn't that's wild?
So they either just sweep or get swept, huh? That is pretty funny.
I mean, it's a little depressing when you say it like that, but yeah. But is what it is. Well, hey, we will see a Rockies postseason in the next 3 years, hopefully.
I hope so. We're all hoping for it. That's for sure.
Yeah. But that kind of wraps it up for episode 5 of the Altitude's Problem podcast. Make sure to find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify. You catch our little clips on YouTube Shorts and TikTok as well, at Altitude's Problem Pod. So you guys have a good week. Don't stress too much about the Avs game. And hope you guys have a good rest of your week.
Peace.
Have a good night.